So I was looking around a little bit like a crazy person. I was like, how do I lose a cylinder head? Like, that head never came off. Where the hell did I put that head? Then I remember I jammed it in one of the boxes. So I'm going to pull that out, and I need to measure the depth because I was able to get my hands on the time-sert kit that they don't sell anymore officially to repair the threads in this head. And this one's snapped. This one they over drilled, so there's probably a snapped one end here, and these three came out fine, but I think that I'm just going to put the inserts in anyway. I guess I don't really need to, but I should have bought an extended tap to clean those holes up instead of using a bolt. We'll see. If the holes clean out really well, maybe I won't do it and I'll save the inserts for emergency use later, but these first two are definitely going to need the work. This was my head, so 64.3, 64.7, 59, 59, 60. Right, so basically 60 millimeters will give us what we need. We don't really need to go further than like 60 or 61 because those all bolted down fine, and I know they're clean. This one, 0.8, 36, 63, 21, 63. So same thing. These haven't been cleaned out yet. I'm going to clean out what I can and see what the new measurements are. These two will be short because of the broken bolts, but these two should all be probably around 64 or 60, and then I'll know they're in good shape. And then I made a tray. Get in the fridge. So I'm doing it with the valve cover off, so this should keep like metal shavings and bullshit from getting down in the head. Juice?
Yeah.
All right. I cleaned out cylinder 5, and I'm getting 64.4 on the caliper. And this is one of the old bolts I made a tool out of. That's the best way. There, you can kind of see. I just take my cutoff wheel and cut a slot down each side. They don't need to be super accurate. They don't need to be pretty. It's just a spot for the debris to go while you clean these out. So with it in that hole, threads start down there, and then I put a piece of tape on the socket so I can count turns. You should be able to do all this by hand. Like, I clean everything out by hand. Oh, and that black line is the same depth that the meter showed. And so I'll spin this backwards until I hear a click. Should be right close. Yeah, right there. So there's a click. Actually, I want that facing me, the tape. So it should come around, should click. So that's where the threads start. And then I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and then like 19 is where it was stopping. You can see that collar. This isn't actually all the way down in there as far as the point of the tool went, but I can't move it anymore by hand. There could be debris blocking it, something like that. You know, I need to go back and fast forward through when I put the injectors in that engine and see how many turns it was until it was tight, because then you just go 90 more degrees. So yeah, I'll see how long it took to torque those, and I think it was something like 16. So if I got 3 full threads extra, I'm fine with that. This is great because I have an internet in here, because now I can watch my own crap, because I can't remember what I did last week, let alone in May. And yeah, right there I made it to 16, and then, well, with the 90 degrees it makes it to 16, so having 18 turns is plenty of space. This is interesting. So we got them soaking with more of that stuff just to clean them out more, but 19 turns, 20 turns, 19 turns, 18 and a half. So I didn't find a broken bolt in there, and there's actually a shit ton of thread at the bottom. So there's part of me that thinks somebody lost a bolt, or they didn't have a bolt and they were just lazy and they just drilled and tapped out the top. Sure, it was dirtier than the rest of them, but it's almost tempting not to fix that one. I think there's plenty of thread that it'll hold. At the same time, I don't know if they did have to extract one. Maybe once it's clean, I'll look in there with a flashlight and see what it looks like, but you know, it might be too hard to tell, and I might do an insert in there anyway. So the bad boy, you can see the top of that piece right there. I'm going to clean that up the best that I can and try to get a center punch on it. And then I have some left-handed drill bits I'm going to start with, and maybe we'll get lucky and it'll just pop out. Okay, I've got the drill bit set way shallower than the bolt could ever be. So there's no way we can punch through. We'd have to get the whole drill to go through the head. And slow and steady wins the race here. We're hoping that it pulls it out before actually drilling. Be funny if it did it right off the bat. Okay, so here's a left-hand bit. Good to know that that one has a nice pilot hole though. Yeah, I used a right-hand bit to kind of help get some of the crud out, a much smaller diameter, just helps cut it. And then using a bristle brush. That looks better. There's actual pieces coming out. Like they're drilling really well. A quick comparison, this is the next size up to 5/32. You can see it isn't even the diameter of the bolt yet, so we're not even getting into where we could harm these threads. And then our mark right there, so as long as my collar is from my thumb or below, so I can grip it there and I still will be at full depth of the hole, where I won't be punching through, because that's like 62-ish or 64 millimeters like all the other holes are. Okay, so this has got a nice pilot. Of course I'm at 39% battery, which on a GoPro means it's about to break. This is scarier because that wall's thin, so it really tries to cut fast. It'd be great if it gripped it and pulled it out, but more importantly, I don't want to accidentally snap this a bit. It feels like we're down to where we stopped at the last one. Okay, so right there, about a 1/4 inch from the bottom, and I'm still inside the bolt itself. You can see from the top once I clean it again. I'll try to get this closer. See, there's a little lip. Oh, it's my flashlight. Oh, over here somewhere. It's red. Balls. Alright, well, I had a flashlight. Shit. Okay, next size up. This is 11/64. Now 15/64 is just barely smaller than the time-sert drill bit, and a 1/4 inch is just barely bigger. So I don't think we got a lot of room to keep going up if we want. Oh, let's come out the piece of the face. Okay, so far on this head, my shell-less hole that I know is going to work fine was 63.4, wait, 62. 62.3, there we go. And that's what I set this collar to. So this goes on with the set screw, and now the drill is only 62.3 long. So when this collar hits, I'm still safe. Left. Just chewing that bolt up. That'd be great if it pulled it out. Once it gets done, all I'll do is break all the sides off. Nearly that depth, so. Oh, it's sticky. Some big pieces in there. Like here's a whole solid chunk of the bolt itself. Oh man, 16% battery already. So this will be the last left twist drill before I do the time-sert drill. A little thicker now, I'm not nearly as worried about stopping it, but I'm still not putting much pressure and kind of letting gravity get away. If this ever popped, it would knock the camera over, so just let go of it. You can tell it's set to the plastic back. There we go. That's all she wrote. I'm gonna get some electricity in this camera and then go grab the time-sert stuff. Alright, got more electricity. I'm gonna go ahead and do both holes with the same steps at the same time, so I don't have to move my collar. And this one should drill easy because I think it's all aluminum. This is the time-sert insert, or their drill bit for their inserts. Oh yeah, grippy. And this one, because I know there's chunks of steel in there, I'm going to spin it up a bit. Oh, still set it backwards. Silly boy. That's a nice, that thing digs, boy. I'm going to turn that speed back down. That's a nice drill bit. I can see how people would break these. Yeah, it feels, as soon as that started pulling itself in, I'm just gonna stop. Yeah. It's just chunking out pieces of that bolt. I think, real quick, I'm gonna use the left-hand drill bit that's almost this size, because I want to make sure this kit stays in good shape. Alright, so this left-hand bit cannot go all the way down, because I'm not going to move that collar. You can tell too, I'm not quite centered anymore. That's it. Not going any further than that. Back to time-sert's drill. Not nearly as scary when the hole's close to the right size. Right there, we hit the collar. So we're at depth. We don't want to go any deeper. And now we'll just clean these holes out and tap them. Okey-doke, same thing. Got the collar set on the tap so we can't go too deep. And this hole, it's really hard not to start it straight. Normally I'd try to find a 12-point socket, which I couldn't find. I really should get a tap holder. I'd be smart than me. I do dumb stuff like this often enough. I'm starting to get little flakes over my cam lobes. That really give this thing a good clean. But the first time I used a time-sert kit was for a motorcycle spark plug that when I pulled it out, just to do a plug change, nothing fancy, it came with a bunch of threads stuck to it. I thought, damn, that sucks. I hope that I don't. Break these chips off. I hope I don't need to do something about this. Hopefully it's not too bad. And I threaded the new plug in, and it went down, it hit the seat, and hit my torque wrench on it, and it clicked. It made all the sounds it's supposed to make without really giving me any issues. So I just said, hey, good deal, let's go. And then first time I go ride it, partway through the ride, that plug popped out and started making a racket. I didn't have fairings on that bike, so I was able to just reach in and unplug the connector for the fuel injector and just ride it home in a dead cylinder. And deciding what to do about it, I found they had an extended kit for that bike, which I think it was an M10x1, so like bigger thread than this. This is an M6x1 for these hold down bolts. But before I tried the time-sert kit, I actually JB welded the spark plug in. Because my theory was that, hey, the hole is all chewed up and it's got a bunch of threads in place, so there should be plenty of like jagged surfaces for the JB weld to stick to. And it worked. It worked for 300 miles before it actually ate it and shot the plug out again. So then I went ahead and got the time-sert kit. It's similar to this one. It's, you know, the extended. It's longer because it's meant for being in a hole like this that's not nearly as accessible as something on the surface. And all I did is rotate the cam so the exhaust ports were open, and then had a friend hook up air with a rag over the muffler so that when they turned air on, it would blow air into the cylinder and out the spark plug hole. So that, combined with a little bit of grease on the tap and on the drill, guaranteed that no chips would go down into the piston area and contaminate stuff. So just did it that way, did the time-sert, put the plug in, and then did like 15,000 more miles in that motorcycle before I sold it. And at that point I'm confident the repair would be permanent, and I'm the kind of guy I tell the next guy about it. That bike wasn't exactly being sold at a premium anyway. Yeah, so I'm not sponsored or anything by anyone because I suck, but I love time-serts. I like using their stuff, and I'm really, really happy that I was able to get my hands on this kit for the Sprinter. I can't even hold a wrench. Anywho, there's not a lot of drama going on with this tap. So I'll get this hole tapped, get the other hole tapped, and then I'll show how the inserts themselves work. Oh, you can add me to the club. I'm not going to complain because I promised them I wouldn't, but a tap that thick at the amount of force I was giving it, it's unbelievable if that snapped. Like that really surprises me. I'm not going to panic over it, but the van sure as shit won't be running this weekend unless I can find one of those. We need a 3-prong for this tap. I think it's a 3 flue, right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, if I can find a tap extractor and get that out without too much trouble, I'll be pretty happy, but I don't know if I can get one here before the weekend, so I'll just sit and have a think, drink a beer, and figure out what to do about it, because I still want to get these inserts in. They work great. Quick comparison between the kits. I mean, M6 versus M10, so maybe they don't need it, but like this drill bit that they send with the M10 has a step on it, and that step builds the lip for you, right? So when you put it in with that, not only does it build the lip, but it bores it out a little bit more on top of that. So when this comes in, this edge has a perfect seat and you end up flush with the top. You also have plenty of room to get the tap in. On the M6 kit for the Sprinter, it's just a drill bit. There's nothing special about it. And it's just a tap, nothing special there. Same with this. Like, this is just a tap, except that it has like its little start, its little pilot on the front to make sure it's straight. And then, yeah, this one's longer. But it needs it. You really only need 4 threads, even for the stretch fit. So I marked on the bolt how deep I was actually screwing them in, so you can see this doesn't need to go all the way down. They actually mentioned that in the book, that you have like 3 millimeters and not to bottom it out. We know we weren't bottomed out because I put this guide on my tap and we were like here compared to my measurement when it snapped. So I wonder if it was a manufacturing defect. That's one thought. My other thought is that this was really tight on the bore. It wasn't tight in cylinder 2 because that one was drilled out by the previous person, right, when they put their dumb threads in it. So part of me wonders if my hole wasn't perfectly straight, and so this kind of torqued on it a bit, and it's maybe hardened too much, or it's not case hardened, it's, you know, the whole thing's hardened, and maybe that's what caused it to snap. Who knows? I have a tool coming tomorrow with the rod sticking out of it that should be able to extract that, and if it does, I think we're deep enough to get an insert in. And in any case, even if the insert, like say, here's where it would normally sit in the bore, if it sits up here, it's like we'll still have plenty of thread engagement here with the ones that we cut, and it's not going to be hitting this collar, this part of the bolt where there's no threads, so it'll still be fine. And the only sad part is if I want to do another van, I need to buy another tap in this size. Probably can't see it on camera, but I don't see anything broken at the top of those flues. But for sure, we can at least get some of the tool in there. So I got a broken tap extractor. I wanted these for a long time, but I've had no reason to get one. I looked down in the hole, and there's a bunch of chips down in there, but it looks like the top of that broken tap is in one piece. It's not like in 4 pieces ready to rip apart. So this tap extractor hopefully fits right. It said it does 5/16, 8mm, and 7mm. I think that's a 7mm tap. So I kind of went on a limb and only bought one. But it's pretty simple. The thing, you can push it down in the 3, because mine's a 3 flue, go around into the thing. You get that as far as you can, then you push this collar down as far as you can, so it's nice and stable and can grip. And right in the manual, they say, you know, you go back and forth a little bit to break it loose, and then just twist the guy out. Well, if it doesn't break loose, they're like, go ahead and break the tool, because then you just cut your things and this pushes down further. I might have to bore that hole out a little bit for this to fit in there, which wouldn't be a horrible idea anyway. And then you can additionally, you can disassemble it and use it without the collar. So if you have a tap where they don't go in evenly, then you just like line these up and then put them in at different depths, so you have as much engagement as possible. Like this is all stuck, then I could at least get 2 of the fingers in and try it that way. But I think we'll be able to get in a little bit without having to do that. So try getting this set up and keep our fingers crossed. Okay, it's pretty deep in there too, so I do wonder about that collar, but it looks like, yeah, like this. It seems to be gripping it. Ugh. That's as far as they go in. It's going to bend it a lot, so I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to really go ape on it. I'm just going to like I might drill that hole out because we only need the threads. We don't need the... Oh. Yeah, I kind of want to drill that out so I can get the collar in there and get it down where that tap is, because we have a lot of tap in there, probably enough to do the whole insert. Yeah, I'm gonna get a drill bit and drill into this head, because if I can't get the tap out, we're not using this head anyway, right? Okay, so now you can see the actual problem. So there's a huge section of that bolt off on this side over here. Yeah, so what must have happened is I wasn't perfectly straight, or just kind of walked out of the bolt. So I was tapping into like an angle with steel bolt on one side and aluminum on the other. Like, I'm not going to be able to get an insert in that with the bolt in there. So we got three problems. One, we got to get the bolt out. Two, once the bolt's out, now I don't have threads for the insert because the hole's not a hole anymore. It's going to be an oval. So I don't know how well that thing's going to grip trying to put it in there. So this could get kind of dirty, but either way, that stuff's got to come out if I want any chance of using that head. Let's set this up again. Alright, so I can see the flues way better, and they're actually really quite clear. So hopefully I can get those to wiggle in a lot further than last time. How far in is that? Oh, I bent one. Balls. Jeez. I can't tell if I just broke the tips off the tool or if it's like trying to spin nice. I guess I could look, but I don't want to lose the engagement as long as it's moving. Oh, it's stuck. Do I dare look? Oh, yeah. So I snapped my fingers off and I twisted them. Good, that's good. So what it did, I just don't think anybody can see it, but it broke the tap again, what was in the hole. So that little finger tool snapped that tap because it's so brittle.